Awesome. How are you doing, girl?
I'm pretty good. I'm super excited about this interview and this mental health rally. It's going to be awesome. We're going to help some people realize that they can break free of the prison of their mind. So that's really, really exciting because I know we've both been there before. So
Absolutely. It is so awesome that you're doing this.
well, we're doing this, right? This is about all of us together. We're doing this together. So I really appreciate that you're here. So I want you to tell me a little bit about your life now. What are you doing? I did introduce you in the beginning of this, but I want you to hear it from you.
Yeah, so we actually are leaders in a multi-level marketing company, and we help people with their health and wellness. But aside from that, it has become our purpose. It really changed my life. So going from where I was and where I am today, what we're doing, it's impacting people's lives because we have been at the bottom and we had to change things in our life to get to where we are today. So we help other people basically to transform their lives into the best versions of themselves.
Which is the best thing you can do. That's like the goal, right?
Yes.
Help other people do exactly what it is you're doing, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and then realizing that the power is inside of you. Our minds are so powerful, and unfortunately, that's where mental illness and these stigmas come in. Is that unfortunately we're told we're supposed to be this box, right? We're supposed to sit inside this box. We're supposed to do life this way. Well, unfortunately, we're not wired that way. We're each wired differently. And so when we're told these things, anyone's going to go a little crazy because we don't want to sit in a box.
We almost grab onto it as our subconscious real. So we buy into these things that people tell us that we have to be a certain way, and then we feel shame. And all of this is happening subconsciously. every piece of it happens subconsciously. So can you tell me a little bit about your life before your multi-level marketing company, before all your success and stuff? Like, was life always this way? Were you guys always just like really successful, or did you have some like struggles and some battles and things like that?
Yeah, we've had a lot of battles. Both me and my husband have suffered both from addictions and alcohol abuse and drug abuse and just all kinds of stuff. We both have passed. My husband saved me. I didn't know him in that time frame, but he saved me from that time. And we've both filed bankruptcy. We've been at the bottom.
Yeah, us too. Yep. We've been there.
And it's so difficult because we hide behind that. So my entire 20s, I was hiding behind what I thought people were going to judge me if they knew that, oh my gosh, I filed bankruptcy, I got into credit card debt. I did all the things that everyone else is doing too, but yet no one's speaking about it. And
you were hiding almost behind the credit card like we did for a really long time, being like, everything's fine, everything's okay, I'm good.
Yep.
And it's a symptom of it.
Yeah, and having all these credit cards that it's like, oh, well, I can go buy this because I have like $500 left.
Right? Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So much yes.
And
same exact thing.
Minimums, and you're
paying interest.
Yes.
Your interest is insane on $8,000 is like 26%. We're just looking at our credit cards now. We're like, we gotta fight this. We're not gonna try to fill that need of what we feel we need to fill inside of us with outside stuff, because you can keep filling it with outside stuff, or you can identify, okay, where is this coming from, and where, so journaling kind of changed that for you. Was it journaling, or is it more than journaling?
So I started changing my mindset. So it was a lot of journaling. It was writing out and writing down the things. Okay, what is going on in my life right now that I don't want? Like, what are the things that we're in debt? We're all these things, right? Where do we want to go? well, everybody's dream. I mean, we want to be financially free. Well, we want all these things.
Right.
But how are we going to get there? We can't.
And how are we acting too?
Yes.
Like, we want financial freedom, yet we keep sticking, not to make this all about money, but really credit cards are a symptom of mental health crisis. Like, you're
Yes.
trying to fill this need, not you, but people in general are trying to fill this need, and they're trying to do it with, for me, I have addiction issues too, and for me, same with the credit cards. It's like you're trying to fill these things inside of you with this outside stuff when we don't realize we have the answers inside of us. And things are nice. There's no shame about wanting things, but when you're drowning yourself to have them, then that becomes the issue, right?
And that's the problem is, if we, there's no big deal if you have a credit card, like whatever, and you pay it off. Like, I have a credit card, I gain the rewards off of it, and I pay it off every month. I don't exceed that, but you have to have a really strong foundation of
100%. I agree with that.
Self-control, because it is so easy to slip back into that and be like, oh, I'll just pay it next month. Well, then next month, a bunch of stuff happens, and then it doesn't get paid. So a lot of the principles that I really started was with ULA. ULA changed my life in so many ways. And
they were amazing at Rally, I have to say.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
And their principles is what opened my eyes. And that was like the line in the sand moment for me. It was like, I am done. I can no longer live another day like I was living.
Right.
I knew that I had to change. And the thing is it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's like 1 degree changes every single day. Yeah,
like
completely agree.
Small steps equal huge results. That's what I always say.
Right, you can't journal once. You can't, I think in your mastermind that you talked about on your Fiercely Free page, you talked about, like, this isn't about, like, going through my book, like, really super quickly and getting it over with. This is about really looking at it daily and kind of digesting through where these thoughts are coming from and what's causing these thought cycles. And because your thoughts cause your feelings, cause your actions. And identifying it, because it really is subconscious. It's all subconscious, and so to identify it, you 100% have to link both sides of your brain to figure out what the heck's going on, right? And so for us, it might be credit card debt and addiction, but for other people, it may be overeating, which I know for me was a really big struggle, or screaming at people, being angry, feeling miserable, right? So this is like, we're using one example of credit card debt, but it could be anything, right? And so I just want to connect those dots for anybody watching this. Is like, yes, credit card debt for us is one thing, but it might be something else for you that needs to be identified and changed, and you don't even realize that you bought into that belief, right? So
yeah, that's I think the hardest part is sitting down and getting real with yourself. That's one of the big pieces that I tell people is you have to be ready to really pick yourself apart, but to the point of where it's okay. Like,
right, from a place of love. Like, I love myself so much that we're going to face these demons, and I'm going to let the circle of people who cheer for me the loudest know that I'm going through this so that they can help me through. I tell Mike, like, I'm eating this healthy food because I love myself so much, and I know I feel like crud when I eat a tub of Oreos, and I know I really didn't feel well when I was 50 pounds heavier. So I love myself so much. We're going to have quinoa today. I love myself so much. I'm not going to put the things on the credit cards, because we say, oh, we love ourselves, so we're going to treat ourselves. But if we're putting it on a credit card and it's drowning us, then is that really self-love? You kind of have to look at that.
Yeah.
Kind of self-demolition.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing is, so like, depending on like the two scenarios you said, it's like the overeating. Okay, eat well all week and give yourself a cheat day. Like, treat yourself so that you're not, because that's one thing too, is that's why I always say small steps equal huge results. Because if you go all in and you're almost like it's like an addiction. It's almost like you're an obsession of like, you're so obsessed with getting better. You almost overdo it, and then you get so exhausted in that process
100%.
Then you almost relapse, and that's why most people, it's like it's the relapse of it.
100%. I was watching somebody talk about like financial freedom is amazing, but you have to give yourself small like treats along the way so that you're not just taking. And with the dieting, I call it dieting from abundance. So it's like I'm not taking things away, but I'm adding in fruits and vegetables because I love myself so much.
Yes.
So we're talking a lot about journaling. Do you have any exact examples of how journaling helped you gain mental clarity? Like either recently, I know even now, I'm like, wow, I don't feel well. Like I feel like really low and I don't know why I feel so bad. And I'll start journaling and all of a sudden like tears will start flooding down my face. And I'm like, wow, I'm holding all this emotion. And I know like growing up for me, like my emotional needs were not met. So journaling really helps me link those two together and like allow that even emotion to flow so that I can identify, wow, this burning in my chest is anxiety and it's because I feel insecure. And so all of a sudden that flood comes out. Do you have any examples that you can share?
Yeah, I actually, a lot of my journaling that I had the biggest breakthroughs was actually when we hit the rank of diamond in our company.
Oh, wow.
And I was so exhausted and so like this exhaustion that I'm like, why? Like right. I didn't even realize that I was in the state that I was in.
You're just so tired.
Yeah, until we hit, and then it was like, wow, like you imagine when you hit that, like right. This big rank, like it's like, oh my gosh, like imagine this. Yes,
right.
Like,
I told you when I hit platinum, you have to send me like a plane of confetti or
like, all this stuff, right?
Right.
Every other rank was so different, and it being the biggest rank or the highest rank we'd ever hit.
Right.
It was the hardest that I ever fell. And it's because I pushed and I didn't realize that the state of mind that I was in either. And so right. When I sat down and on paper and I started writing down, like, I was actually really unhappy. I was actually doing things for other people
instead of didn't want to do.
Yes.
Right. And when you're not filling that cup, when you're not doing for you, you're 100% gonna, but it's hard to identify that in the moment because you think you are doing it for you because you're trying to hit this rank, but you're really doing it for them.
Yeah. And I think it becomes this like battle because in this type of business, you have friends and then you have business. Right. And it's really hard because then a lot of that gets crossed, and you start doing things and then you're almost enabling. And so a lot of my breakthroughs, just one prime example of that is, was after we hit and I started journaling and writing down, like, I didn't even know what I like to do anymore. Right. Like that was how much I put myself on the back burner of helping other people. And yes, you have to do that to some extent, but the journaling process helped me to identify things that I just was like doing daily, and instead it's like slow down. Like, right. Like sometimes, yes, you have to hustle and you have to do the things, but at the end of the day, hustling is gonna exhaust you.
Right, you want to align.
Ease and grace and align and like the ebb and flow and like truly wholeheartedly like be in the moment of that. Oh my gosh, it
makes life a lot easier when you're able to align. And a lot of us feel like, I know for me for a long time I felt like, well, if I write these negative things down then I'm being in a negative vibration. But really what I kind of got when I meditated on it was, you're not being in a negative way, you're purging it. Your intention means so much, right? And so I think for both of us, we want to be like these positive people, and like we're going to be this positive light for everybody. And so we don't want to like admit the negative stuff that's in there, right? I don't know if that resonates with you, but so for the longest time I was like, I'm not going to write it down. And then what I started doing was like, okay, I'll write it down a little bit. And I'm like, wow, all this emotion is purging out. So I definitely, if you're one of those people, like having a separate gratitude journal, if you do manifestation, doing it all separate. So it's like the intention of this journal is that I'm purging. The intention of this journal is that I'm in gratitude or I'm manifesting and stuff like that. If that's an issue for somebody who's watching this, who's like, I don't really want to be putting negativity out there. You're not putting negativity out there. You're purging it out of yourself. I think you've recommended like you can burn.
I was just going to say, one of my things is, especially if it's bad, because if people are holding on anger, or things that maybe happen to them, and honestly they're just not ready to share it with the world, or they maybe don't want to, but it's inside of them causing anxiety.
Right.
Put it down, write down every emotion attached to that. Like, and here's the thing is, when you're journaling, there's no perfect, like, grammar, none of that stuff matters. Just like you were saying.
Right. It actually really has to be raw. Yeah. Yes. 100%. Like, to even identify, like, that's super important to identify where you're coming from, because then you can look at it in a different state of mind and reread it. Mike just started journaling recently, and he reread it, and he's like, wow, I did not realize I was in a victim mindset. I did not realize that I was in this mindset, because when you're in that mindset, you don't know. You know, we're all human. We all get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to, like, touch on that a little bit, because that was, like, one of my biggest fears. Like, I don't want to journal. Like, I don't want to admit that I have negativity and anxiety, but we all do. And it's not putting it out there. It's your intention. You're purging it. You're releasing it into the universe, and you're saying, this no longer serves me. I'm going to choose my thoughts. I'm going to choose my feelings. I'm going to choose my actions. And this thought no longer serves me, so I'm going to journal it to really identify where it comes from, because, you know, something simple could happen, and then it just makes you feel a certain way, and you don't even know why, and it's because of something that you've held on to since you were very little. Yeah. And then you purge through that and kind of remove it, and it might come back up, but you can't fill your vase with positivity if it's like 3/4 of the way filled with negativity, right? Yeah. Life, you can't live a positive life with a negative mind, the quotes in your book.
Yeah.
So, you know, purge it out, empty it, then fill it with the great vibrations, and you can, or the high vibrations, we say high vibrational, but we're talking about gratitude, love, happiness, joy, even giving is, you know, to be able to give, you have to have that in you to truly be able to give, right? So,
yeah, totally agree. And once you get to that point too of journaling, I had a really hard time starting. So,
right.
Just don't be afraid to start. Go buy a journal, go get something, and even if you just start writing every day of what you're grateful for, and even if it's bad,
100%.
Grateful for good or the things.
Yeah, 100%. You know, pull meaning from the bad stuff that happens to you.
Yeah.
I, of all people, that resonates with me, and we've all had bad stuff. To say that there's, you know, I say a lot of people tell me, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've been through, right? We all don't know what each other's been through until we start being more open with each other. And so, but speaking of that, and journaling prompts and tools and stuff, you wrote a book, and it really, truly is a guide in journaling. I went through it, and in the introduction, I was talking about how, like, I was like looking at it, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh wow, you're really making me face my stuff. Like, but I love that it is so relatable, and I highlighted a verse, and I hope, or a passage, not a verse, a passage that I hope it's okay that I share.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it said, for so many years, I allowed so many things and people to hold me back. I would dwell on things daily. Do they like me? Why don't they like me? Do they accept me? Should I buy this or that so they like me? Dress a certain way? Okay, the list goes on. But ask yourself these questions. Do I love myself? Do I accept myself? Do I want to hang out with me? Would I want to be friends with me? I think that that's such an important shift in your book that you speak about. And so it's not just a journaling tool, but it also goes over, like, hey, we're all human. I might be a diamond in my company, but I've faced these things too. And in my book, let's face these things together, right? And so what prompted you, I mean, obviously journaling was a key part, but what prompted you to write a book?
It has always been something that, like, has been on my vision board. I'm not gonna lie, like, just that big scary dream that, like, hey, I'm gonna write a book, but like, really in the back of my mind, I'm like, no way, I'm never. Right. And since I've been on this spiritual journey since December, I've really, like, dove headfirst and just being very more aware of who I am, what I want to do with my life, like very clear, like
Right.
not blurry, because we all have all these things that we want,
Right.
but do we really want those?
Right.
Or do we want those because our spouse wants them?
Or are there things that we want that we have shame about? Like,
Yes.
you know, or that we feel silly about. Well, who do I think I am to do X, Y, and Z? I have big issues with that. So.
Oh yeah. Trust me,
that's a lot of us, right? But the goal is we want to slide into that grave saying like, whoa, that was a heck of a ride. We don't want to leave anything left on the table. I watched a video by Denzel Washington, and he talked about how at the end of your life, you don't want to be surrounded by your unfulfilled dreams, your unfulfilled goals, saying, we came to you to give us life. And, you know, that's why we came to you and you didn't give us life. You want to end your journey one day saying, wow, I really met all these goals. And so that's really important piece of even the journaling part.
Yeah. And so I went to an event in January and I spoke, and it was really surreal because I went back to that same event, and 3 years prior, I went to that event. I was a newly silver. Some of you don't even know what the ranks are in the company, but that's like, you know, it's a good rank, but I was a new silver 3 years prior, and I was so scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I was filled with anxiety. I flew cross country to go to this event.
Right.
And I was shackled. Yeah, I was shackled with fear. I was literally sitting in my hotel room and was not going to go. And unless I would have been rooming with 2 other people who pushed me, got me out of bed and said, no, you need to go, get dressed, and let's go. And I had like a complete meltdown because of fear, because of worry, because of people
because of the lies that we tell ourselves. 100%.
Yes.
That totally resonates. That's anxiety. And those are the thoughts that we're telling ourselves that we bought into somewhere along the way, that we're not good enough, that we don't belong. You know, all those things that we tell ourselves that we don't even realize that that's what we're telling ourselves.
We don't even realize.
And they're so real. They are so real. We're not doing this to say they're not real. We're saying they're so real, you need to write them down. They're so real, you need to identify them. They're so real and they're so important, and you're so important that you need to do this work. Nobody can do this work for you but you, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, if there was like a magic pill that would have fixed it, I don't think we'd have an epidemic right now. I don't know. So we're going through as a country right now.
Yeah.
With mental health. So
I went to that event, and anyways, that was the event where 2 guys came out, and they just so happened to be the ULA guys, had no idea who they were. Right. They spoke a message that spoke through my soul so deeply that I walked out of that building and I changed my life. And 3 years later, this April, exactly to the point, I went back and I was asked to be a speaker at that event. And I shared the stage with them this time.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. That's like the dream.
how surreal. That was probably such a big moment of my realization of like, wow, like I totally changed. Like I did the work. Like you have to do the work. People
there's that mama bear pride that you have for yourself. Like, I totally understand what you mean. Mine is smaller, but still huge accomplishments, because I've made us leave restaurants before because of my anxiety, and just sitting in a Red Robin and being able to eat dinner with my family. Yep. You know, those little and big moments, we need to feel pride for ourselves to see how far we've come.
Girl, and I've been there. I used to not be able to go into restaurants either. I've been the same, where I literally would be a thing. We would be sitting, and I'd be like, right before the waitress would come, I'd be like, we have to go. I can't even be here. I can't even be here. Like I was so filled with fear and anxiety, and I don't even know what it was. Right,
something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of that can be, even for me, I know it was a trauma response for me personally, is that like, because I've been through so much, and so when I would just sit in these moments where everything was fine, my brain would be like, no, it's not, something's wrong, and here's why something's wrong, and it's so real, but it's not. It's fortune telling, right? And we're trying to fortune tell the situation, and So unless we journal it, right, and we have these prompts, like in your book, we don't know where they're coming from. We don't understand. So you have 5 rules in your book that I wanted to touch on that I really, really love. Do you want to go over them, or do you want me to list them off and you can go over them?
However you want. That's
okay.
Totally
so the 5 rules are: be you, be all in, which I love that, because a lot of times we have these goals and we're like, we got one toe over here, one toe over there. I had this really amazing experience. I was bringing somebody something that could help them yesterday, and I took this back road, and I was so nervous about this mental health rally in general, and it was like the universe was telling me, well, once you've gone down this road, it was like this tiny dirt road in this mountain that I didn't mean to go down, and it was like, well, once we went down it, we can't go backwards now, Mary, like, so be all in, right? That was the message I felt like I was getting yesterday. Plan for success, no comparison, and don't be afraid to succeed, which is a really huge fear of a lot of people. I know that's definitely something that I'm afraid of. So I don't know if you want to kind of give a little bit on each rule and why they're important.
Yeah, so those 5 rules they are just my jam, because I lived by those for so long. And that kind of goes back to the question before of like what prompted me to write the book is I have people coming at me all the time like, how did you do it? Because they've seen, people who have known me for years, they've watched the transformation. They're like, I cannot even believe who you are today. Like, yes, I remember, who you were. And then, people who know me just know me through Young Living or whatever. They're only seeing a glimpse of that. And so it's so important to understand that I had these 5 rules that I had to create for myself to live every day, because I didn't have my self-support right in the beginning. Right. I had to do a lot of things against the grain that it was either going to end my marriage or keep us going. Right. It was either going to change my entire life or we were going to end up at the back. But I had nothing to lose, because I was already at the bottom, and I was like,
there's nowhere left to go from here.
There's nowhere left to go.
Right.
So I am going to do this. So it was like that line in the sand. So I created these 5 rules of this is how I lived my day, and this is still how I live my day. I have these 5 rules written out, and every day, or if I get into situations, I look down this and I say, okay, am I being who I am? Like, these are the 5 rules that I feel like every single day you should wake up. It's be you. So do you get into situations where, oh my gosh, I have all this conflict, I have all this drama, like what are you doing that's causing this? So it's asking ourselves like these questions of
like, who am I?
Yeah.
Who do I want to be? Am I being who I want to be? Because I know a big fear of mine is not being accepted, but it's like, I need to be me. The world needs Kerri to be Kerri and Mary to be Mary, and whoever's watching this to be them. The world needs your light and my light, and not to be somebody else. And it does create a lot of drama when we try to be things that we're not. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, or if we've been something else, and our friends who are in our circle, and then they're causing drama in our life because they're like, oh, well, you're just pretending to be, when actually you're actually being authentic to who you are. You just
you just
so
you're 100%.
You're shifting out of that, which actually pulls people back. You have to just be so focused on being who you are authentically every single
what's
day.
True to you. When I was watching a Wayne Dyer video actually a couple days ago, and he talked about that people get very upset when you're somebody on Monday and somebody different on Wednesday, not taking into account that something could happen Tuesday that could change everything for you. And that we have to be like water with other people. We have to be like water with ourselves and be like water with other people. And to be so offended, which is I think what I messaged you about, to be so offended because somebody was somebody on Monday and then they changed who they were on Wednesday, has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with them. And the world is our mirror, so if it bothers us, then maybe we need to journal it out, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if we're being authentic to who we are and we're living by our rules and being a good person, then who we are has nothing to do with other people, right?
Exactly.
And their acceptance is maybe extra. He talks about if you talk in front of 1,000 people, you're going to have 1,000 different opinions of yourself. You can't control that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it's honestly none of our business what anybody else thinks of us.
100%. I agree.
Yeah. So getting out of that too. And then the second one is be all in. Like you had already kind of touched on that of being all in, but truthfully, when we want something bad enough, when we want change, we're going to do it. Bottom line.
100%.
When you want it so bad, people want stuff all day long. But
right.
Unless they really want it, they're going to do something about it.
Right.
And
but the irony of the universe is you have to want it so bad that you want it, but then you have to detach yourself from the outcome.
Yeah.
That'll be a different video.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to want it so bad and do all of the things that set you in alignment, but then release the attachment to the outcome to the universe, right? But that's a whole nother story. So the next one is plan for success.
Yeah. So plan for success. Okay. So when you're planning for success, like I've always done like a vision board or had like, and it's in my kitchen, it still is, where I'm planning for that success. I've already in my mind, it's already happened.
Right.
I've already
speak it into existence.
Yeah. Like I've already created a multi-million-dollar business. Well, boom, here we are sitting 4 years in and that's happened.
Right.
You know, everything on that thing has honestly happened. I just did a video for our team and I was like, wow, like I didn't even realize it because every day I'm looking at it.
Right.
Life is happening, but I put it there. I planned for success. I wrote myself the checks. Which
is what so many people suggest. Wayne Dyer, Oprah, Jim Kerri, and I'm just naming these people because unwavering belief comes from, I told Jen Dorsey, unwavering belief comes from reading 15 personal development books and realizing, wow, it's the same thing, but our voice still needs to be heard to say the same thing because people still don't believe it, right? Plan for success. Write it out, and if you feel shame like I did, so I didn't put my dream board up for so long, I hid it behind my dresser because I felt so ashamed that I had these crazy dreams. Like one of them is to be on the Ellen DeGeneres show. I so badly want to be interviewed on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and I totally will, 100%. Like you have to speak it out and tell people, but I felt so ashamed that I hid it behind my dresser. You know, because I felt this, who am I to be this person? Because, you know, and that I think leads into your next rule is no comparison, because I would compare myself. I'm not Kerri Birkley, and I'm not, you know, the Ula guys, and I'm not this person or that. I'm not Rachel Hollis. Why would anybody want to interview me on the Ellen DeGeneres show? Like, you're
Mary.
Right, because I'm Mary Kenyon, so.
Yes, and
exactly.
That is where you have to get so in alignment, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Because I still have days. Like it is an everyday battle. I just have the tools now. I know that when I wake up and I'm feeling like, I'm like, okay, I got to journal. I got to.
Right. It's not that you're a diamond and you're Kerri and you have this life. It's that you still are human. You still have all these feelings, but we have the tools now. Even with me, it's not that I don't have these bad things that happened to me that caused my CPTSD. No, I 100% still have them, and I 100% still get depressed, but I have really good tools. It's like digging a garden with your hands versus digging a garden with a tool, you know, the tiller or a shovel. It's really what you choose, and once you learn these tools, you're really just making yourself miserable. You're making yourself suffer when we're trying to dig the garden with our fingers, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what I compare it to. So,
and on the comparison one, just one little thing is if you find yourself comparing yourself to people daily, like on social media and stuff, just unfollow them for a while.
100%. I agree with that. If you're struggling and you're just in that bad mental space, unfollow. Yes, yeah, I agree.
And fill your feed with positivity. And if you need a good one, just go follow Ula and fill it with all their positive quotes.
Yes. So, offshoot, my husband will be like, I don't like social media because, you know, it's everybody bragging about their lives, or I have friends like that. I'm like, well, what do you follow? Do you follow Oprah? Do you follow Prince EA? Do you follow, Don DePani is one of the monks I follow. Like, who do you follow? What's showing up on your feed? Does it make you believe that you can have all the things that you dream that you want? Or does it, what is it that you are dreaming about that you want, right? So what do you follow on your feeds, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the last is don't be afraid to succeed. So why would anybody be afraid to succeed? I think some people think that's silly. Why are you afraid of success?
And most people are actually, they terrified. Are very afraid. They are terrified, even though we all want it. We all want this success so bad. But then deep down, we're like, but all these expectations of, I want to be there, but I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be on stage. I don't want to be interviewed. I don't want all this stuff.
Right. They might think this about me, or they might think that about me. Yes. People might think these things about me. That's a big one that I've been journaling about.
Yeah, they've already sabotaged their success because they're already pre-thinking without realizing that might actually be their purpose.
Right.
I put my head down on this. Talking in front of people was not my thing. Like, if you would have told me this is what I would be doing, I would have ran. I would have ran far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I fell into it because guess what? It became my purpose, my passion. It
lights you on fire.
It lights me up because I am not doing this to just be on camera and to be, hey,
look,
I literally want this.
Changing people's lives.
Yes. I want this to touch somebody. If this helps one person, I'm doing my job. Like,
right, 100%.
That is ultimate. The ultimate thing is touching someone's life that they say, I can do it. She did it, I can do it. And that's really what this is about. It's not about where I am today and all that. It's literally knowing that it doesn't matter where you are today. It matters of where you want to go and understanding that you can get there.
Right, 100%. And we look at everybody who's there and follow their roadmap and be like, wow, they went through so many of the similar things that I faced. And I'm still good enough and I'm still worthy, but that comes from within. Me and Kerri and everybody can tell you that you're worthy till we're blue in the face, but until you believe it, you will not succeed, because we can't tell the universe we're unworthy or God we're unworthy, but then at the same time ask for things, right? That's very confusing messages. It's like, very much how I'm with my husband, like I really want that high calorie food, and then he gets it for me, and then I'm mad, and it's very confusing, mixed messages, right? And so we have to feel that worthiness to truly accept what it is. Do you really want what you're asking for, right? So,
yeah, and on that too, I think that a lot of people get to a certain point too, and then they get afraid. They're like, "Whoa,
right?
Like, wow, I'm really I'm actually powerful." Like, I better slow down because people might see me. No, 100%. Just keep going.
Looking back at my LuLaRoe business, or my previous direct sales, I realized that I got to a point where I was succeeding really well, and I totally self-sabotaged myself. Completely. But I identify it now. So we feel so much shame, but once you name it, you tame it, right? And so I realize and identify, like, wow, my links and my thoughts about money and my deservingness around money and my deservingness around even good things and being surrounded by positive people, these uplifting, wonderful people, what am I telling myself, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too, is a lot of it is people you surround yourself with. So if you're around people who are telling you, yeah, that won't ever work, that will never work out,
right?
It's a pyramid scheme, it's this, it's that.
Or just those dreams are too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are they to tell you?
Right.
I'm going to tell you, and Mary will tell you, anything is possible.
100%.
Don't ever discount that.
I agree with that 100%. And you just got to keep finding whatever it is that gives you that unwavering belief that you can succeed. You can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. And if you don't know how, you have a Google search bar. If you don't have a phone, you have a local library that you can go to, and you can use that Google search bar, and you can watch inspirational video after inspirational video of people who achieve their goals. And even by aligning, because I personally am, no offense, I'm against hustle. I don't want to hustle. I feel like I hustled in my childhood, and so I don't want to hustle now. I think my biggest healing came from me, like, I've been through enough that I want to have this life, even though I felt shame about it and things like that.
Definitely.
So before we go, I want you to touch on your Fiercely Free Mastermind, and that the mastermind you did on your page to walk people through, and those videos are still available, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. Yep. They're still up. Yep. And then you can also join our free, it's the community page, the group, so we can put the link up for them. Perfect. They can just ask to join, because I am going to take those videos down publicly, but they'll be inside the group, like, in a little
Wonderful. That's awesome.
Yep, so there'll be like an easy...
So I'll share that link in the YouTube description box. So if you guys, when you guys are watching this video, just go to the YouTube description box and click on the link, and you can find Kerri's group. And it's a private group, so that if you're struggling and stuff like that, your stuff isn't put out there.
Yeah.
But it's a way to twist things around, to pull meaning out of it, to pull the positivity out of what you've been through, if that's what you're looking for. That's who that group is for, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, it's really, we are building a community so that people feel safe. And even if you're sitting there for 3 months and you're reading other people's, and then you finally are like, you know what, I am worthy of this. I am gonna, whatever. And it's sharing our journeys and sharing our this whole fiercely free, journey with each other.
Right.
And it's a safe place. And, the ground rules in it is, like, the people who are in it have the same view. Like, we're all struggling with the same thing. And it's growing every day.
Right. Pulling meaning, growing from our stuff that we've been through. Because, and we've all been there where we've been in the victim mindset, or we've, been in that negative place, but we've decided, like, no more, because we've been through enough. We just want to move on to the positive, and by moving on to the positive, we're purging through and looking at all the stuff that we've been through. And then if somebody wants to purchase your book, can you say the website? I'll also share it in the description box, but could you say the website out loud?
Yep, it's livefiercelyfree.com. Yep, and it looks like this.
I have it too.
Yep. Yay! Yep. And it's awesome. There's a lot of area in it for you to actually write. So like what Mary was saying, you can actually write in a lot of the pages, but you can also just grab a journal, and if you want to keep it,
Right. If the book isn't in your budget, you can totally grab a journal. Mm-hmm. But it is very helpful, I think, to feel connected with somebody, that you're not alone in this. That's why we're taking this time out of our busy schedules and our day to do this video series. And this is going to be one of several videos, but that's why we're doing this. We're doing this literally just to help, just so that we can reach that 1 or 2 or 100 people, or whoever we reach, to say, who's ready for change, who's ready to say, like, I don't want this to be my life anymore. Just hit that rock bottom point, like I definitely did when I got hospitalized for my depression, and I said, I don't want this life anymore, and I need to change. And so, my story is pretty extreme, but, whatever your story is, it doesn't have to be extreme. There's so many tools, and you can find what works for you. You can use part of Kerri's 5 rules. You can make up your own rules. Come up with your own guidelines. One of mine is always, give from a place of service. Don't make it about me, because when I get nervous, it's like making it about me. Make it about how can I help others, and that completely changes it, right? So whatever helps you, whatever tools, I definitely recommend her book. But again, if it's not in your budget, just grab a regular journal.
Yeah. And there's so much stuff in the group. That's why I wanted it to be a free resource, so people can add themselves to the group.
Right,
you don't have to have the book, but eventually you may want to get the book. And the mastermind, all the videos are there. So I literally took 8 days, it's 8 chapters, and went through each chapter very thoroughly and walked them through the entire book. Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome. So they can find that in there. Well, thank you so much for joining us with this mental health rally, breaking free from the prison of your mind. I really appreciate you going over journaling with everybody And if you guys have any questions, just drop them in below, or if you're watching this in the mental health rally event, just drop it below the video in the event. But we really appreciate you guys watching. It's important, even if you're not one of those people, that you watch this and share this with your friends and family, because you never know who you could help with these tools, right?
Absolutely.
Educate yourself so you know how to suggest things.
I just want to add one more thing that we didn't really touch on, that is
Absolutely.
part of the book, is like your daily affirmations.
Oh yes,
And
100%.
yeah, so in the book, there's 9 affirmations that I really like, even aside, so like the 5 rules, but then also the daily affirmations.
Yeah.
You put this on your mirror, put this on your phone, like everywhere that you go. Yes. And I will read them to you really quick, but they're so important. These helped me through some of the darkest days. Just speaking it back into myself, or if I was having that like anxiety or panic attack.
Right, saying them in the mirror too.
Yep, and speaking them back into you. Even if you don't believe it, say it to yourself, okay?
I'll do it with you.
Yes, you ready?
You say it, I'll repeat it.
All right. I am love.
I am love.
I am light.
I am light.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I am brave.
I am brave.
I am a warrior.
I am a warrior.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am everything and more.
I am everything and more.
I am fiercely free.
I am fiercely free. Thank you, Kerri. I really appreciate you joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.